You want to make your Augusta do as much damage as possible. So let's get into the guide. I'll start out with, do I think you need to summon for her? I don't think she's a must pull. It's not like she gaps everyone else in terms of their game. You know, it's not like she's an insane DPS that no one can compete with. She's good. She's very good. But if you don't like her, I don't think you need her. You can go ahead and pull for Carlotta, or you could pull for Shorekeeper. Shorekeeper, I'm going to say, is probably more of a must-need character than Augusta out right now, just because Shorekeeper is in so many teams and is just a fantastic all-around character supporting and healing those squads. But if you like Augusta, go and get her. That's what, I mean, this guide is about her. Do you need her weapon? Her weapon's the best weapon for her, but I wouldn't say you need it. And I'll explain that when we talk about her weapons. So let's get into it. So who is Augusta? What is she going to do? Well, she's a main DPS, a main damage dealer who does her damage in the form of heavy attack damage. She also will damage amplify teammates coming in from her outro. Talk about that a little bit more when we get down to it, but that is essentially who she is. She's a main DPS. She's going to bring the thwack. As I just mentioned her weapon, let's get to it. Her signature, Thunder Flare Dominion. Thunderblaze Eminence increases her attack by 12%. Casting an intro skill or resonance skill increases her heavy attack damage by 20% for 15 seconds. Obtaining a shield allows heavy attack damage to ignore 7.2% of the target's defense for 7 seconds. This stacks up to 5 times, so you can get over 30, what is that? That would be an extra like 37%, 36%. Yeah, 36% damage ignoring defense. That's pretty nice. As I mentioned though, it's not like if you don't have her weapon, she's useless. Not in a million years. You can see her crit rate is a little low, which makes building her a little tougher than some of the other swords. It's about half the crit rate of normal 5-star weapons, so something to keep in mind. But what are your other options? Your other options are going to be Verdant Summit being the best. Jien's signature Broadblade is actually amazing for Augusta. It's actually right up there with her signature, so you can definitely not go wrong by using Verdant Summon instead. Fantastic option. After that, it's a little bit of a drop-off, but you could easily use Jinsees, Lupas, or the free, not free to play, but it's more free to play friendly than the others, and the Lustrous Razor, the basic 5-star Broadblade. If you are looking for some 4-star options though, the best two are going to be the Ariat Zenith and the Autumn Trace. However, these are not free in terms of money. To get either of them, you have to go to the Pioneer Podcast, which is the Battle Pass, and in the Battle Pass, you have to purchase the Insider channel. You can do so for $10, or you can pay the $20 to get an extra couple tiers done, but you're going to get it here from the Golden Eternal or the Hunter's Growl sets. One thing I will note is the Ariat Zenith is one of the new weapons, alongside with Feather Edge, Solar Flame, Aether Strike, and Radiant Dawn. This is the first time they've made their appearance in the Pioneer Podcast, while the Autumn Trace is one of the older generation of Pioneer Podcast weapons. So while I will say it is cheaper to go ahead and try and get the Ariat Zenith than spending all of the money on pulls for the Thunder Flare Dominion, it still will cost money. Some free-to-play options instead are going to be the Waning Redshift, followed by the Helios Cleaver, and then Meditations on Mercy. You'll probably get one of these while you're pulling for Augusta if you're brand new to the game, like this is your first time playing just to get Augusta. I would bet you get at least one of the 4-star Broadblades in all your pulls, unless you pull Augusta right away and you're super lucky, in which case, congratulations. But if you need to use a 3-star, just use whichever one until you get one of the better ones. But those are the other weapon choices you have. And from weapons, we move into everyone's favorite part of the game, Echoes. I've been having just so much fun with the RNG. It's my favorite. But your Sonata effect you'll be running is going to be a twofold. It's going to be a 3-piece and a 2-piece, something we saw on Forlova for the first time, and something they seem to enjoy doing. It's going to be Crown of Valor as your 3-piece. You're going to gain a shield and increase attack and crit damage, and then your 2-piece is going to be Void Thunder, where you're gaining electro damage. I have already seen people online running 5-piece Crown of Valor. There is no point. It's not like the other sets. It only goes up to 3. You only need to run a 3. I'm saying it like this just so you understand. You don't need 5 of them. If you're wondering what I mean by piece, it's Echoes. I have 3 Echoes in here that are Crown of Valor and 2 that are Void Thunder. So do that. The actual bonus you'll be getting though, because I know you're interested about the numbers, upon gaining a shield, increase the Resonator's attack by 6% and the crit damage by 4% for 4 seconds. This effect can be triggered every half a second and can stack up to 5 times. So that's an extra 30% attack and an extra 20% crit damage. You don't want to miss out on it. In terms of your Void Thunder bonus, it's going to be an extra 10% electro damage, which Nothing insane, but also helps out. Now, before I jump into which echoes you want, what main stats and substats, let's talk about the end game stats you're aiming for, as I feel will help shape and give you a better understanding of your overall goal that you're aiming for. I will include on screen my visual from my shorts. I do make shorts versions of all these guides if any of you have not seen them. There's an Augusta one up if you'd rather just watch that, but this one I go into a little bit more detail on as I have more time because I have more than a minute. But with it, you can see the endgame stats we are aiming for. Our attack, you want it over 2,000. The higher, the better. Energy regen, you want to get at least 110% on her. If you can get more, it just kind of helps with her rotations, but it's not something super worrisome. Just try and get like 10%. Crit rate, you're going to want a crit rate of 65% or more. If you can get more, fantastic, but you don't want to sacrifice your other stats to get it. In terms of crit damage, I have and that I want you, I think 210, but I'm going to up it a little bit. I think maybe 240 or 250 is a little bit better. But if you can get, more, even better. Your main goal is to try and hit around those numbers while still getting the stats for everything. You don't want to have like 1,000 attack, but then like 400% crit damage. I don't think you can do that to begin with. That would be impressive if you can, but that's not really what you're aiming for. So just kind of keep that in mind. With that out of the way, we jump back to the echoes. Your 4 cost for this is going to be a Crown of Valor 4 cost, and you're going to want it to be the False Sovereign. There are 2 options. You can see the Lady of the Sea is the other. But the False Sovereign here, the resonator with this echo equipped in the main slot gains electro and heavy attack damage bonus. They were made for Augusta. While the Lady of the Sea is going to give you an arrow and res lib bonus, Augusta doesn't want that. She's not an arrow character. You're going to want the False Sovereign as your 4 cost. In terms of main stats, you're going to want to aim for electro damage bonus on your 3 costs, both of them. If you desperately need to put attack on, go ahead and do that, but your main goal should be electro damage. Main stat for the 1 cost is attack percentage. Main cost for your 4, or main stat, I should say, for your 4 cost is either crit damage or crit rate. Probably going to end up being crit damage, but if you got, let's say, amazing rolls on the substats for these guys, and you have a ton of crit damage already, and you need more crit rate, then go with the crit rate. I normally save the 4 costs to the end, so I can see what I need more of. But as I'm talking about substats, which are these ones here, the 5 below that main one, we're going to be aiming for crit damage and crit rate. You're going to want, again, a lot of it. After that, you can kind of go for an attack percent, heavy attack damage bonus. There is also flat attack, which is the one without the percent, so this one where it just says 50. And then you can go for resonance skill damage. Also, don't forget to get a little energy regen, as I mentioned. If you get just 1 on someone, you get that about 10%. If you get some more, hey, it just helps out a little bit extra. So now let's move to skill priority. Your number 1 priority should always be getting the top 2 rows. You're going to definitely want the inherent skills, 1,000,000%. Then you're going to also want to get the crit rate and attack bonuses that help also just building out your echoes and the character overall. But then we get here. Number 1 in importance is your Resonance Liberation. This is where she's going to be doing most of her damage. You're going to want to get this as high as you can. Then Forte Circuit is next up, followed by Normal Attack, then Resonance Skill, and then Intro Skill is your least important. If you can get everything to 10, 10, 10, for sure, it's going to make her better, but if you don't have the materials, Intro Skill is the least important. Her outro skill, I kind of mentioned it briefly, as when she swaps out for 14 seconds, the next teammate coming in is going to gain a 15% damage amplification for all attributes. So it does not matter what teammate you're running her with. You could swap into Jian, Lupa, Chang Li, Camilla, Frolova, doesn't matter. They're going to get a 15% damage amplification buff. But if they swap out, so you do like a quick swap, that next character is not going to get that bonus. It's only for the 1 person that comes after Augusta. The next part of her outro, you'll see there, you'll gain a stack of Majesty and a stack of Crown of Wills for her. I'm not really going to get into that. You can read that if you want to, but I feel that sitting here and reading through all of this can kind of just make it more confusing. Instead, I'm just going to show you her optimal rotation, and that's going to have you hit the goals you need to hit in terms of getting your Crown of Wills stacks, in terms of getting your Majesty stacks, things such as that. So let's get into the gameplay aspect. I'm going to show you how to use Augusta on the battlefield. I'm going to have up top the premium, like this is what you should be aiming to do in your actual rotation, but we'll see if I'm actually able to pull it off, since sometimes Augusta kills people too quickly and I can't get through the whole thing. So yeah, we'll see. Again, as always, play however you want to. I just include that for the people that want to know what the rotation is going to look like. If you don't want to play that way, don't play that way. Game's meant to be enjoyed. Play it however you like. I'm all about fun. I don't use that rotation exactly every single time. Sometimes I'm just feeling like running around with Augusta and just doing some things. But with that, let's get into the Resonance Chain. AKA, do you need to pull more copies? Should you pull more copies? I'm going to be honest. I don't think you do. I think you'd be better off saving to pull for Iuno next, as she works a lot better with Augusta. But if you do want more copies, getting the first 2 stacks is something that's, super nice. It increases your max stack of Crown of Wills. Also, each stack of Crown of Wills now will give you an extra crit damage bonus of 15%. And when you get E2, or S2, I guess, RS2, however you want to say it in this game, you're going to then get crit rate bonus of 20% for each Crown of Will stack. And every 1% of crit rate over 100 is going to get you an extra 2% crit damage up to 100. So, super nice there. After that, I would say, yes, you get a 25% damage buff here, which is super nice. And then beyond that, you're wailing out, in which case you're probably going for 6, where she's going to hit like an absolute freight train, a nuclear bomb. So, I don't think it's necessary, if I'm being honest with you. I think you're better off saving for Iuno. But if you want more copies, as I do, because I really like Augusta as a character, go for it, 1,010%. And one thing I'll mention, if you didn't know, in the exchange shop, you can turn in your Afterglow Coral for 2 extra copies after you pull Augusta once. That is how I got my 2 extra copies. You can do it for any character if you weren't aware, as long as they're the active character that you can pull for. As you can see with Shorekeeper and Carlotta, you can get 2 extra copies. However, it's only 2 copies ever. You can see with Shorekeeper, I did not get an extra copy of Shorekeeper on this rerun. I did it on the previous rerun, but I still only can get 1 more. It's 2 extra copies forever. To get the other 3 to max her out, I guess it's 4 actually, you're going to have to pull. So keep that in mind. To get the echoes for the Crown of Valor, you're going to want to go into your guidebook. Then you're going to want to scroll down to see Nightmare Purification. And it's going to be the Wastelands Nightmare Nest. You're going to have to get far enough in the story to unlock this area. But this is where you're going to go and grind. You can only do it once per day, which really sucks, and I hate that they have it. But this is where you're going to get most of your echoes for the Crown of Valor, at least at this time. And that's going to do it for my Augusta guide. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them the best that I can. And as always, if you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like and subscribe for more Wuthering Waves content. I hope you all are staying happy and healthy, and I'll catch you in the next one.